This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Friday morning show rolls on. So we've been chatting quite a bit here over the last month and a half once we got word that the Missouri Valley Football Conference and the Summit League were going to not necessarily merge, but come together in a way to help each other out. Obviously, we know there's a new commissioner coming in. Jeff Jackson, who we've had on the show last month, is the new Missouri Valley Football Conference commissioner. That becomes effective July 1. We knew the league was going to hire a chief operating officer, and earlier this week they announced that Kyle Grooms will be that guy, and he's lucky enough to join us. We're lucky enough to have him on the show to tell us exactly what this job is going to entail and give us maybe some more detail on what exactly this partnership is going to look like. Kyle, thanks so much for doing this. I guess the easy or obvious question is, okay, so what is your job going to be now as taking over as CEO of the Missouri Valley?
Dom, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Love getting on, talking ball with everybody. So in the short of it, it's all football all the time. Everything's dedicated to MVFC. That's kind of my role. So anything dealing with scheduling, budget, coaches, ADs, officiating, all things football all the time. That's kind of where my hat will lie, and I'll support Commissioner Jackson and Josh Fitton as well, and kind of be a service to everybody in the league.
You have this role previously with the United Athletic Conference, which, as people know here, that's the combo group of the ASUN and the WAC. How much can you use from that job? I know it's different schools to apply now to your new one.
Yeah, certainly. I think it was very, very similar. When we were creating the United Athletic Conference, we kind of had the Missouri Valley Football Conference as sort of our guiding principle on how to set up a two-conference merged league operations as sort of our guiding principles there. So draw a lot of that experience on there. Been doing that for a few years. Really just being one of those people that is of service to the coaches, administrators, ADs, presidents, everybody involved.
I guess from afar, knowing what the level of football is in the Missouri Valley Football Conference and covering it in FCS, I've always felt the league never got necessarily its due from either social media or just attention, like drawn more attention to the league. How can you help in that endeavor?
Yeah, that's kind of a good world we like to live in. You know, all news is good news on this, and the MVFC is certainly the shining star in the FCS landscape. Being able to work with the best in the business is really exciting. And that's one that the MVFC, that's the goal that everybody across the country is trying to get to. We'll certainly sell everything that happens in the league, and we'll promote our teams and our coaches, our schools, and our student athletes to the nth degree.
The conference, as you know, Kyle, is one of the two in the FCS that has a national television package. The Big Sky just up theirs. I'm sure that's something that maybe you want to discuss or get the games on. Personally, I'd like to see maybe on a different night, so you're not going head to head with an Alabama and a Georgia. How high on the priority list is that for you?
Yeah, eyeballs are always good, so always increasing our exposure. Linear television is and remains, king, and any chance you can get linear TV games on the ESPN network is massive. Those viewerships are incredible, but it's also increasing the exposure on the Plus broadcasts that we have. We've got a great product to sell. We've got a great product to showcase, and looking forward to upping that ante a little bit.
What do you see as maybe job number one? Like when you start taking over, like what do you see as, okay, this is task number one I want to sink my teeth into?
Yeah, definitely. I think anybody that's in the football business, coaches, everybody, it's a relationship business. So my first deal is just calling coaches, calling ADs. I'm kind of in the middle of the process of doing that. I got the directory, just just a day ago or so. So I'm kind of working down my list. But first and foremost, it's always about relationships. It's building those things. That's primary key. Number one, and that will always be primary. Building relationships and being an open line of communication.
From your previous job in the UAC, and obviously those schools were, most of their sports were housed in different leagues. And you have something similar here in the Valley and the Summit here in our own backyard, where North Dakota State, North Dakota, South Dakota State, South Dakota, the rest of their sports are housed in the Summit. How difficult is that, a tightrope to walk? Say we want this for football, but we have to be cognizant of what it does for the other sports in the other league.
I think it makes sense. In this world of college athletics that we're living in, it's a unique model. It fits. It makes sense. The tightrope that I walk is, certainly that's one of our league members. There's no difference to me what league you're playing in outside of football. Within our space, and that's the good thing about my job is I'm solely focused on football here. So those are all, as I like to say, those are all kind of my children. I'll defend and protect that group and treat them all and love them all just the same. So, but for the other leagues, it's great. You get to celebrate, where they're at elsewhere. You look at Murray State and they're running baseball right now.
Yep.
You get to celebrate that stuff. You see all kinds of other, NCAA basketball tournament runs. You kind of get more exposure in those lights that you can kind of celebrate and point things back to our football league.
And look at it. Obviously, you're coming from a conference that has some major shakeup in it. There's been rumor out there of 3 schools in the league you're coming from that potentially could come to this league. And I know you're not going to tell me anything about expansion, but you were here for Abilene Christian's game against the Bison. Tarleton scared the heck out of South Dakota. UT Arlington's been really good in men's basketball. I guess from a 1,000-foot perspective, those schools, how appetizing would they be to potentially come to a Summit or a Missouri Valley?
Those schools are great. They've been able to accomplish a lot in a very, very short window of time. We were able to really support them in my previous job. And I think that's helped them flourish there. Certainly they've got aspirations, and they're going to be the best where they're at. One thing I know about the coaches and the leadership there is that they are gung ho about being the best, and that it's where they're planted. Really, really establish some great relationships with those folks, through the years. So I'm a little too young into this job. So, I haven't officially started yet, but and I haven't been in those conversations. But a lot of respect to those administrators and coaches and presidents and all those in those leagues or in those schools.
When you've been to Abilene, you've been to Tarleton. For those, we saw them on the road. What has been they're in Texas, so it goes without saying, Kyle, they like football. But what have you seen on the ground? Their commitment, like, we want to be good in FCS, because frankly, we need more teams that are good and are willing to spend money to be good in FCS football. You've seen it firsthand. Can you describe that to us?
Yeah, a lot of those schools, those 2 that you mentioned, Abilene and Tarleton, they've put a lot of money and resources in building their facilities, not just in the football space, but Abilene Christian just opened a brand new baseball renovated complex. They've done renovations, both have to their football venues. And a lot of the schools in the United Athletic Conference, they took off and they've been renovating. North Alabama's building the new stadium. So just from a over 30,000 foot view, the emphasis on football in the FCS landscape is growing tremendously. It's a good space to be in. And there's appetite for football everywhere.
When you look at the FCS as a whole, where unfortunately we're losing teams left and right to go up to the FBS, challenge of that, knowing the Valley is at the top of keeping the attention on that, keeping people's focus on that? What do you see as a challenge for you of taking over that job in terms of, hey, we want to make sure people are focused on FCS football and the Missouri Valley and being at the top of that conversation?
Yeah, we've got a good product. Play on the on-field play is as good as anybody in the country, and so one thing I've always heard and abided by is be where you're planted, and thrive where you're planted. So where we're at right now is ranked at the top premier of the FCS, and that's where we want to stay, and that's where we want to progress further into having that further separation from the rest of the pack, and really be the top dog for a long time in that route. So it's a great league, top to bottom. I'm selfish in the fact that I want more teams in the playoff hunt and the playoff race, and I'd love nothing more than going into semifinal weekend knowing we got a national championship under our belt.
Have you had your travel plans figured out for the fall yet? I'm trying to get everywhere. Is that still in the works right now?
Still in the works a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got the schedule pulled up. I've got a bunch of games circled that I want to get to. One thing I really want to hit in the short term is getting to every campus. Certainly before season starts or shortly after the season starts, and establishing those relationships and being on campus and meeting folks. And, I love watching games. I joke with my family all the time. Like, I get paid to watch games on Saturday. So it's really the best job in the world. And I love college football. I love college atmosphere. I know the Missouri Valley's got, tremendous fan support and tremendous institutional support across the board. So I'm really looking forward to getting to every campus.
Kyle, I know when we had Jeff on, the chatter of a potential in-person media day was high up there. Is that something are you tasked with, and how realistic is that could be for the upcoming football season?
Yeah, I think that's already set in motion, that the Missouri Valley Football Conference is going to have an in-person. Actually, at the top of the next hour, I'm jumping on a call. We're going to talk some media day stuff. So
okay,
that'll kind of be my intro. We'll figure out what's going on and see those things. But I know that been an appetite for a long time to have an in-person deal. The way I look at those media days is that's a great opportunity to sell our league and sell your programs and kind of get your name in front of everybody else in the country. And so I think that'll be a great benefit. Kudos to everybody leading up to this point and getting that handled. I think there was a strong appetite from certainly athletic directors on down to get that accomplished.
You had one in the UAC. What was the, I guess, appetite from the coaches, players to be involved in it, and how much do you think that helped in getting more, excitement for the upcoming season? Because frankly, we haven't had that here, and I really think we haven't had in the Missouri Valley. I think that could really help, honestly.
Yeah, I loved it. That was kind of a good pet project of mine. Something where we were able to think differently about stuff and being able to sell when you're going up against every other conference's media day. You got to do something a little bit different, and we were able to accomplish some things that were a little bit different and unique and fun and in big time environment. And I think really those things can get away from you if you let them, but I think you keep the focus on the student athlete experience. It's a great opportunity to love on your student athletes and promote them and promote your programs, give them fun, unique opportunities and things to do, and work in ways that you can support your institutions from a possible donor event or anything else like that. So what we were able to accomplish previously was a lot of fun. Look to carry some of that stuff forward into the MVFC, and I think it's a great opportunity just to get out in front and sell and promote your programs and your players.
I really appreciate you doing this, bud. I know you're not officially on the job, but thanks for giving us a little glimpse into stuff, and look forward to meeting you in person when we get to media day then a little bit.
I'm excited. I'll more than glad to hop on anytime. I know I'm just kind of a space filler till you get to your dad and start to play Yankees baseball. And hey, I get it.
Hey, no, man, this was. I didn't even get a chance to talk Tulsa football because you were a dude at Tulsa. So I asked now because in that league, Bison fans think, hey, they could compete in the American. You're now in the Missouri Valley. What do we think? Could NDSU keep its own in the American Athletic Conference or what?
I love the NDSU and the Missouri Valley Football Conference.
See, he's got the right answer already. Appreciate it, bud. Thanks so much for doing this. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Dom. Really appreciate you.
Kyle Grooms, who's the new CIO of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and you'll see more of him, I'm sure, on this show and around different games. He's going to be the go-to guy. If there's a question on officiating, if there's television-wise, he's going to be the boots on the ground, which, frankly, we haven't had that in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. It's not been there. And I understand for fans out there, they say, hey, just give me the game and tell me the score. But there's more to that. And I think for people that are on social media that want to see buzz about their league, the Valley hasn't had it. None. The Summit League has done a really good job in drawing attention to itself when they are not playing, whether it been the Summit Big Sky Challenge. Look at all the videos that Fenton did with the arm wrestling to get ready with Tom Wistersill when they were getting ready for the challenge there. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. Just have people talk about your league when games aren't going on is the big deal. And that's something that he's going to be tasked with going forward. Starting with an in-person media day, while it might sound self-serving to us, it's actually for the viewer, listener. You want to hear about your team, right? You want to hear about the people talking about your team. You want to hear from South Dakota State, South Dakota, UND, Northern Iowa, right? That's the way to get it going. I thought the last couple of years we've been down in Sioux Falls for Summit League basketball has been great because you've got to hear from, we've had everybody on. We've had everybody from SDSU, USD, NDSU, and UND on the last couple of years we've been down there. It's been great. That you want to see more of that on the football side. All right, we'll break. We come back. I promised it yesterday. We'll spend a couple minutes on the realignment wheel with the news on Villanova leaving the CAA for the Patriot League. The Patriot League, I got asked yesterday, where is that rank in FCS conferences now? It's moving up. Back on Hot Mic right after this.